Going on, Falcon fans? This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about the free agents, defensive tackles that's out there this year. Wasn't a big list for me. I want to try to go for the cream of the crop, so that's why I only picked 4 guys. If they get in one of these 4 guys, I would definitely be pleased. And we're going to talk about the reason why. We understand that, guys, the defensive line is what the Falcons need to get to. And I'm talking about inside. We want to be able to get that pressure up the middle of the field. I think the most disruptive thing you can do to a quarterback is get him pressure in his face. It worked so many times. Ask Tom Brady. What he probably dislikes most is that pressure right at the middle of the field. Quarterbacks are not able to step up in the pocket. It just disrupts everything. So we can get pressure up the middle of the field. And these guys that we're talking about today is definitely some of those guys that I feel that if the Falcons was to land any 4 of these guys, it would definitely be a great start for us this offseason. So guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to get right into it. My first guy on the list, probably not my favorite guy, but my first guy on the list is Javon Hargrave. And, I mean, he's only about 29 years old right now, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl bound Philadelphia Eagles for the National Football Conference, right? So this guy, 60 tackles this year, 11 sacks, 16 quarterback hits, right? His price tag right now is about $20.1 million. If you put him for a 3-year deal, that puts you over about $60 million. But I feel that a guy like Javon Hargrave, go back and look at some of the historical numbers that the Philadelphia Eagles put up this year. He actually had a factor in that. Of course, alongside a guy like Fletcher Cox. He's not on this list because Fletcher Cox is up on the older end side of the, of 30. So I didn't put him on this list. But a guy like Javon Hargrave still, probably playing for his final big contract, 29-year-old, bring him in. If we can get him, that would be a good deal to go alongside a guy like Grady Jarrett. So Javon Hargrave, 60 tackles, 11 sacks from the defensive tackle position. Like I said, 16 quarterback hits at a price tag about $20 million a year. So definitely, we can get a guy. And guys, we definitely get to see more of him this next Sunday when the guys playing the Super Bowl. We'll get to see, just raise his stock up even more. If he can probably put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. So can't wait to see what he does. But if the Falcons can get a guy like Javon Hargrave, I'm with it 100%. Go ahead and sign on the dotted line. They have the funds to do it. This is one of the big free agent signings that we were talking about. No strings attached on this one because we got the funds. Go out and get a guy like Javon Hargrave. The next guy, probably my favorite guy because of his age and been talked about so many times by Falcon fans throughout. It's going to be interesting if the Commanders actually let him go. I hope they do. But a guy like Daron Payne, only 25 years old, right? This guy right here, we can have him for 2 big more contracts. 64 tackles, 12 sacks, 20 quarterback hits. 20 quarterback hits. And his value right now is a little bit cheaper than what we'll get for a guy like Javon Hargrave because his age, right? And we can sign on him for a longer term contract. So we get him for $19.4 million for like 5-year contract. That's the kind of potential we can have. And just imagine a guy like Daron Payne and Grady Jarrett beside us. That young core, right? None of got one of the youngest teams in the league right now. If you get a guy and a 25-year-old like a Daron Payne with the numbers I just talked about, 64 tackles, 12 sacks, and 20 hits on the quarterback, that's what we want to see, right? We love things like that because we talk about sack numbers, but we talk about these sack numbers, 12 sacks coming from a defensive tackle. That's very impressive. That 19.4 million for 5 years, I think is a great deal for a guy at this age at that position. Definitely the Falcons able to get a guy like Daron Payne. Sign me up today. 100%. I would love this signing for the Atlanta Falcons. I think most of you guys would definitely love this signing as well. The next guy, hey, we got to stick to what we know because the Falcons did bring in Ryan Nielsen from the New Orleans Saints. So we're going to go see if we can get a guy from the Saints to already know what he likes, what he expects. Like I said, he understands this guy's pedigree. I'm talking about David Onyemata, 43 tackles, only 5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits. His price tag is only at 9.6 mil. So we split the price tag in half. So we can't get a guy like Javon Hargrave, a guy like Daron Payne, right? Why not go get 2 guys, with that price tag like a Onyemata, right? Bring him in at 9.6. Already knows the system, already knows the scheme. Work with Ryan Nielsen, who already knows this young man. He's only 30-year-old, a little bit on the more higher side, but at 9.6, not bad for a defensive tackle who actually knows the scheme and was able to provide the inside presence that we need. No, he's not a Javon Hargrave, not a Daron Payne, but if somehow, their team decide to pay them that market value that they have because they can do that, and we're not able to get them, we have to go out and look for other guys, and this guy here with the familiarity with Ryan Nielsen coming from the New Orleans Saints. Hey, let's see, can we bring a guy like Yamada in? And yes, it's a consolation, I would think, because we can't get a guy like Hargrave or Payne, but I still think it's a good signing for us at that price tag. Get him a 3-year deal maybe, and let's go from there. Guy who already knows the system. And the last guy on the list, like I said, guys, I only picked 4 guys because it's so many guys out there that you can think about that you can bring in. But these are the 4 guys that I think if the Falcons bring these guys in, it's definitely going to help the Falcons this year. And I'm talking about Dalvin Tomlinson, 28-year-old, 42 tackles, 3 sacks, 10 hits on the quarterback, $8.5 million a year. So you see, I went down prices on each one of these guys. Like, this is another guy. This is where you can actually split up your funds and get 2 guys instead of 1 guy, right? So if you want to start having a deep defensive line, you can actually rotate these guys in because now with that 8.5, so you can bring him and Yamada in at the same time and it still be about the same price tag that you would get for a guy like Daron Payne or Javon Hargrave. So that's my thinking. We know that Terry Fontenot said they're going to be smart with it. So if we're not able to go get a big splash like a guy like a Daron Payne, like a Javon Hargrave, we can bring these other 2 guys in at that price tag that they're at, and we'll get 2 guys for the price of what we would get for those other 2 guys that we would definitely love to have in here. So those are my defensive tackle guys. I really believe that this is what should be one of the main focus for the Atlanta Falcons. Besides the secondary, I think we have to upgrade in the secondary as well. We already talked about the free agent secondary players that they need to probably potentially bring in. One of the reasons why, because if we're going to go off some of the history of what Ryan Nielsen defense being back with the Saints, they played a lot of cover 5 2 high safeties, which a lot of man coverage is being played. That's why the potential of Casey Hayward might be being cut. Bringing in another cornerback to go alongside AJ Terrell is definitely something they consider. We talked about a guy like Jesse Bates coming in. Don't know what he would fit of that 2 high safety scheme. We might have to take a look at that. But those are the kind of guys that we have to start looking at from the defensive standpoint. We want to talk about defensive fronts. I think it's the most important signing that they need to sign this offseason is a defensive tackle to go alongside a guy like Grady Jarrett. And I don't want to forget about Taquan Graham because his progress that he made in his second year was good as well. But we can pair these guys up and be able to get that pressure from the inside, like I mentioned. And talk about the edges I talked about yesterday, right? Those edges coming from the outside and bringing the pressure inside gives no lane for that quarterback and go. And this is what we want to see. Also will help our secondary if we're going to be playing that man-to-man coverage that more than likely we might, go to this year. We got to go back and look at some of the things that Jerry Gray did with the Green Bay Packers this year and see how he ran his secondary. But if we're going to take some of those things from what the Saints did over the last 5 seasons and what the Green Bay Packers did, who had the 9th passing defense in the league this year. All right, we're going to be able to take a look and see how that front and that back came together. But these 4 guys, in my opinion, would definitely be game changers for the Atlanta Falcons to pair with the guys that we already have on the roster. I talked about having that depth, bringing in guys like when one guy goes out, you don't have a big drop off, getting pressure on the cornerback, being able to stop the run. These are some of the things that we want to do. We want to be able to get our opposing offenses in 3rd and long, right? So we could try to get that 4-man rush going, right? We don't want to try to bring so much pressure. We can bring pressure with just our front 4, put our secondary back there in the back, keep that 2 high safety, not getting no big explosive plays, playing that man-to-man, forcing those guys to get rid of the ball fast and come back up and make the big tackles. That's what we're trying to see from our defense this year. Big improvements on the way, but they have to start, in my opinion, in the trenches like we talked about. And I think defensive tackle, guy like Daron Payne, who's my number 1 guy on the wish list, if we can pull him, get him somehow. If the Commanders are, I don't want to say dumb enough to let him go, Falcons, go out, roll out the red carpet, get him that 5-year deal at $19.4 million and bring him in. So guys, definitely let me know what you think about these defensive tackle free agents, how you feel that they will fit into our offense, what you think about if we can't get a Hargrave or a Payne and bringing other 2 in at the same price tag for 1. All good strategies. We have to think about it. Will they decide not to go get a free agent defensive tackle and try to pull one off in the draft? We just have to see. But these are some of the things that I'm pretty sure that the front office, along with the coaching staff, is really thinking about right now. So, guys, that's all I have. These are my defensive free agent tackles for the 2023 offseason. And this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.